Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, yeah, it's okay. Going on, just getting tired of
I know.
uh, wanting
Leaving
to get out.
it.
Yeah.
You would like to talk about resin. So, what is it about the material that you enjoy?
So I think one of the, and we again, resin was something that we used, maybe 5, 6 years ago is when we tried using it in, some interesting ways. And we've slowly discovered so many more things. And right now, of course, it's a lot more known and popular and used in many, many things. But I think the one thing that we really like about resin is that it lets you figure out how you want to use it. You
Sure.
can decide, the take on your design, and then you can mold resin to sort of whatever you want. So it's almost like the liquid metal that we were sort of discussing, that
Yeah.
it lets you, be your creative self. You can sort of decide and do a lot of trial and error, play with it, and then come up with different ways of doing it. So, there's not a single solution to it.
And have you ever gotten your hands dirty, like, casted with resin, made a geode or something like that?
Actually always wanted to. I went up to a point where I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing something in the office only,
Yeah.
but I never eventually ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But
In fact, a couple of our staff members, make these posters with resin,
Yeah.
and so we were actually going to do like a session with everybody on Zoom call, and then sort of do like a little
So
resin class.
interesting. Yeah, and a lot of people are offering those takeaway resin kits, and you just have to follow the steps that they tell you, and you can like
Yeah.
yeah, it's very easy for someone to learn. What is great about resin is that when you do especially these fluid resin art, or which is so widely popular,
yeah,
there is nothing which is a standard outcome.
yeah,
You cannot see an outcome. It's almost like uh, uh, pottery or clay. When you fire it, you don't know how it will fire. It's part of the whole process. It's that way. How it swirls or how it moves, it's entirely, it's so organic. And it's not, so every product or everything that you do is almost like a piece designed just specifically for you.
Yeah.
So it becomes very interesting when you're doing high-end residential homes, or even particular pieces. So we've actually worked with resin, where we used resin art on as tabletops, as a partition divider, which we've merged with metal on, leather paneling on one side, and resin art on the other side.
Or a combination of resin and wood, so we've created these patterns
yeah.
uh, with like resin and wood, and then we've done a completely custom design pattern, and they've actually turned into either doors or partitions. And the interesting part is the way light passes through those if you're going to keep them transparent or translucent.
Right.
So very beautiful the way natural light, artificial light passes through this, and like the whole reflection and refraction through it is quite interesting, the property.
So is this something where you can come back after a few years and probably recoat it? Will it work out? And like, or do you just have to discard the piece and like get a new one instead?
We made a dining table out of resin,
Yeah.
where it was a circular dining table where the lazy Susie or the turntable in the middle. Uh, that was a wood with resin mixed geometric pattern, so that the light sort of came through it. And
Right.
we've used it as doors. So on one project, we actually used it as a door for a mandir. It is an enclosure for a mandir. But because there was no air conditioning, or when they light the diya, or when they light a light, the soot or the flame or the smoke that would generate, we wanted it to not remain inside the mandir. We had to creatively vent it out, but at the same time we didn't have that much space where we could actually put a duct through the ceiling and take it all out. So we used a resin door, which we actually cut out holes for jali, which was like concealed. You could not make out that actually there were holes inside it. So
Cool.
we used it as a, where it was just a door as a product. We actually converted into a very utility, or
Yeah, functional.
functional. Seeing a lot of these of resin which is used for tabletops and dining tops and everything
Right.
that we are seeing of lately. But what is interesting is that resin as a material has a lot of strength in it,
Right.
and actually as a structure, it really works well, which we realized when we were doing these doors. So resin comes in different grades. There is something which is very which I learned was resin, or at least with the vendor that we worked with had told us that that resin that he particularly used is used on yachts. On the inside of when they do the veneer and veneer application, they use it
Yeah.
on those yachts, which
Wow.
gives that super high finish, and
Yeah.
which is
Glossy
it's
look?
impervious to water,
Yeah.
because it's so seawater is so saline in
Yeah.
content, so highly saline that if you use general veneer with PU or melamine lamination, it will not really sustain.
It
So
was
this resin coating is what actually makes it that really rich.
and
Or for that
durable.
matter, even in high-end luxury cars, it's actually the veneer panels which have resin coat on it, which makes it that tough. So that is the material that is used, and then when you buff it, you can either clear coat it or you can grind it to make it frosted, or you can even then use different kind of laser or router and do pattern in a pattern or overlay. And there are so many things
Yeah.
you can really do with it. It's like it's really amazing.
Yeah, so I was actually going to just ask you that sometimes humidity can be an issue with resin. So have you faced any challenges while using it, on the inside or the outside?
Though that the weather or the temperature or the humidity is important when it is being poured or when it is being casted, because the curation time can keep differ
Yeah.
differ as per the season or the timing, or how the temperature outside is. So it's important that the person that you're working with is aware and knowledgeable of these things,
Right.
so that the right amount of curation is done, so that it doesn't sort of just bend or break off during that curation period. And also the right number of layers. So suppose
Yeah.
they are pouring it, then they pour it in certain certain number of layers, and you have to wait after every layer for a curation period,
Yeah.
and then keep adding. And so while you're doing these, you also have to be careful of not getting dust in between, not letting the
Air
bubbles in between.
So from my understanding from the questions I got when we were talking about resin and we were going to have this chat, people were worried about the yellow coloring, that comes over time, specifically if it's exposed to sunlight in certain areas of your house. Is this something that's controllable, or something in the long run the client just has to be like,
It does yellow over a time, but it depends again
I think the
on
quality also
quality.
of the resin that you're using, the liquid. If you're using a good branded one,
right.
Then definitely that will happen much lesser or over a much longer period of time.
But again, it also depends on how you use it. I mean, if it's like a veneer, even if I use a veneer which is exposed directly to light, no matter what veneer I use, it will fade. No
Right.
matter what coating I do, it will fade.
Yeah.
So it's something similar to that. But at the same time, you can use resin which is used on tabletops, which can be used outdoors, and they'll be particularly fine because the underlayer is darker.
Yeah.
So when it is lighter, then you have trouble because you can see it apparently. But it's a nature of the material. Any material which is exposed to sunlight, no matter what you do, will have some discoloring effects to it, which is very natural. Whether
And
even if it's fabric and curtain.
Is it something that they can come back after a few years and probably recoat it, and will it work out, or then do you have to just discard the piece and get a new piece in its place if it's yellow?
Buffing and polishing can be done, but if the yellowness pours through, then you cannot. But again, resin coating is mainly only for decor purposes, which is used right now. It is not used in terms of for interior finishes. It is not used because it is very expensive.
Right.
And you cannot do it on an ongoing site. So if it is just a ready piece or a piece of furniture, but like Shilpa said, resin which is used for furniture, and those don't yellow because there is a particular chemical that is added onto it.
Okay.
So resin comes in different types, which is very pure, whether it's plant based, whether it is chemical based. So most chemical based, which are ones, they do not yellow. They are a little harder, and they are actually used in making chairs and furnitures and stools and
lights also, for that matter, because of their quality of
like coasters and homeware and tableware.
Yes.
Yeah. And if so, you had to recommend people to use resin. I understand that furniture is safe, wall art is safe, any loose piece, is safe. Would you yourself use it as, say, wall panels or do a flooring with resin?
See, wall panel, yes, why not? I mean, if it is carefully done with the correct, vendor and the correct, so that is very important who you're going to do it with and what brand of resin is he going to be using. Are they the
Yeah.
certified ones? Are they using the right chemicals? Then yes, but, it may not be over large expenses only because of the cost also.
Yeah, it'll be expensive.
Yeah.
And it's also the workability of it. So
Yeah.
if you see a maximum size that you can work on depends on who the vendor is or what they can really give us.
Yeah.
The maximum size that we worked on is like a 9x4 right now, not larger than that. Ideally, because of transport and a lot of other variables that are attached to it. But in terms of workability or when you're working on a surface, the smaller the panel, it becomes easier to.
Would it be quite heavy to install and thicker when compared to other alternatives?
Yes,
Heavy,
because it becomes heavy because
Yes.
because it's a hot material when you pour it. So you
Yeah.
need a thicker material at the substrate, which you need to pour on. So the panels that we have done are at least 12 thick. Marine ply is what is used, or a marine MDF, and
Okay.
then you can use that for your casting. You can router cut it. You can do so many things with it.
Okay, and like in case your customers like the resin finish, but they don't like the glossy part, is there a way to work around with it to get a matte finish?
You can do a matte finish. So when you do so, even if it's a clear resin by in nature is very clear. When you buff it, you can either buff it into a different degrees of opacity and based on the sandpaper or the paper.
Or you
that
can
use.
add accents to it while
Yeah.
color accents to it, metallic
Correct.
accents to it
Right.
while you are pouring
While you're
itself.
Is that of the technique, or does it depend on like every project you work on? So things are different. For example, like when you're creating with resin, and since it's such a bespoke medium, what is like your work process with this material?
There are two. One is very geometric cast in position that we worked on, which are the doors, where we wanted it very. The whole idea was that to appear as if the wood pieces are actually floating in air. That was the concept that we wanted.
Okay.
So it had to be very structured. So it was a particular geometry. Those wood pieces had to be placed in a particular order. And
Yeah.
while the resin had to be poured, it did not move. So the weight. So everything was really, after doing smaller panel samples, slightly larger samples, then we ended up doing the full cast.
Okay.
But on the other hand, we actually
Like
really
the
like the
flow
fluidity,
also. Yeah.
the randomness of the material.
So even if you're doing, tabletops, or you're doing dining tables or center, corner tables or whatever, but the fact that you just let the material take its own sort of shape and you just decide on the major colors. But even if I have three pieces in the same space, each one will have a connection but still be very different from each other. So that character of the material also comes from the fluidity. So we kind of tried both, the structure and that more straightforward geometry, and also I think the fluid aspect of resin, which was also quite interesting.
If it was for Shilpa and me, I think we would love to use the fluid part, but to explain a client that, listen, these are the colors and this is what almost you're going to get, but not exactly this. The minute we say that, they're like, then I don't think we'll settle in for that, because they're not sure whether what they're going to get, whether they're going to like it or not.
Abstractness of it is a worry to your clients.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what
Even
are
if we say, okay, you know what, I'm going to use three colors like a blue, yellow, or gold, or white, and then it's going to be a swirly thing, and that's how it's going to turn out, but it'll look amazing. But the minute we say that, okay, they can't see a product, or
The
this
finished,
is the finished
product is still not
you want to
known,
see
right?
it as it is before saying a yes to it. Yeah.
It's like a piece of an art, yeah, which comes out from a painter. I mean, a painter's painting, you may give him a theme to paint, but in the end, the result will be what it is going to be, and you don't know that.
Like it can't be controlled to the extent a machine produced thing can be controlled. And in terms of future resin trends, do you see resin being used anywhere else a lot more?
I mean, we do see that, the material has a lot of potential. So the fact that you can convert something from a liquid to a solid and then back to a liquid if required, that property itself, you can actually, try and do so many more things out of this. So I think, furniture is one aspect, but there could be many more things in terms of ready-made panels or fixed panels that have been pre-planned. And you're just then selling them, and you're not like, for somebody who's not going for a couture piece, but is ready to buy these specific panels.
Like
It's a
standardized
particular,
ones.
yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot of standardization that's also possible once they're able to figure out the proportion, the size, the factory making process of it. So definitely a lot of scope, in the material.
Okay, and my final question is, for people who are new to resin, is there any tips and tricks that you would like to share that you've learned, from your experiences?
I think one thing is the whole aspect of the creative design aspect of resin itself. The way, the property of the material. So that's very important to understand. So it would be great if you could go visit. Like when we did that, we went and visited a factory or a vendor who works with it.
Okay.
So I think that's the first thing you should do is, because then you can understand the non-limitations or the limitations of what all can be done.
Right.
And that helps you actually propose what you can do out of it, rather than just see a limited ready-made piece and say that this is all I can do. So I think that would be the greatest tip is, go see how it works. If it's possible, get your hands dirty,
And any mistakes that you guys have made and learned from on the job, like where you realize that this is not something you want to do for another time again?
Lots of them happen.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Especially with the wall panel, when we wanted to do, and we did it, and then we wanted to actually cut it, and then it could not get cut. So I think it's part of the learning process.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything negative that we can take from any material, because everything has been part of the learning process.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless
Example-
until you don't make mistakes, or you will get hit. But I think that is the way that this is where you stop with that material, or whether you can stretch it more.
Also, if you're trying to use it in a very detailed pattern, you need to understand the scale or the proportion of the holes or the gaps, because it's important that that can be casted, or that can be filled in or poured in, depending on what the method is. So it's very important to understand the scale. So maybe once or twice you realize, oh, this is not working, so let me go back. And so you have to do these trial and error sort of, experiment, see what works.
And how early on should people start working with resin? If they want to use it in their project, should they start finding vendors in the design stage and start sampling early on? Or would you say 1 to 2 months before is enough?
It depends on for what product and what finish are you using. If it's a finishing product, then it can wait till end. But if it's part of a intricate piece, like if you're using resin as a light element, or resin as a screen element, or resin as a furniture element, then you have to start at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So it depends a lot to do with the end product that you're going to use, and based on that you can time yourself around.
Yeah, I mean, if it was going to be a very small tabletop, and the ones that you get with a artistic sort of finish, those are still okay if you're going to do those a little bit later. But yeah, if it's going to be a very prime element where you think that there is a lot of detailing and a lot of pattern, or it's not one single solid piece, then definitely you should start early, because there will be repercussions of time, cost, sampling. All of that will need a lot of time.
Okay, I think this has been a very detailed conversation, and I feel like I've learned a lot, because I've been to a few resin classes, and they only taught the basics, 2 techniques, and you just pour and you go home, and you don't understand that how much attention to detail is required when using resin as a material in the interior space. And I think it's been great. The knowledge you've shared has been really, really, I would say, insightful. And I hope that everyone viewing this has something to take away. So thank you so much for taking out the time. And I highly appreciate it for giving me such a prompt response. And, just coming on pretty quickly and sharing these
Thank you
so
so
much.